Everyone. Today's topic of discussion is metabolic bone diseases. This is one of the important topics for your exam purpose and also for the general orthopedic knowledge. Let us first discuss briefly about the composition of bone. Bone mostly consists of three types of cells that are osteocytes, which are responsible for the deposition, removal of the new bone, and osteoblasts for deposition of the new calcium and other minerals, and osteoclasts. These are the modified mononuclear cells which act as the phagocytes. And next one are the bone matrix, which consists of organic components and inorganic components. Coming to composition of the bone, the extracellular matrix composed of 35% of organic matter, of which type 1 collagen is 95%, which consists of proteoglycans, osteocalcin, and phospholipids, and other 65% is calcium hydroxyapatite. The cells are mainly osteoclasts, which are the precursors of the osteoblasts, which are in the resting state, and osteoblast is the active form of the osteoclast, and osteocytes and other progenitor cells. This is the brief picture of the physis. The radiolucent line here is the physis, which consists of different zones, which are described as resting zone, which is present in the topmost layer towards the epiphysis, and the growth is the proliferation zone. The below is the hypertrophic zone, which is responsible for the main culprit in the hypertrophic zone is the main culprit in some diseases like growth, lipid disorders like that, and calcification zone is the main culprit in the rickets. Then next comes the ossification zone of ossification, which is present towards the metaphysis. Next, coming to calcium metabolism, 99% of calcium is stored in bone, of which main regulators are the parathyroid hormone, vitamin D, and calcium. This is the cycle how calcium is regulated in the body. The first is stimulus falling blood calcium levels. This is the main stimulus. Falling blood calcium level is stimulus for the parathyroid hormone, which triggers the kidney to uptake the calcium in the kidneys and stimulate the calcium release from the bones. This increases the active vitamin. This also increases active vitamin D formation, which absorbs the calcium from the gut. So finally, the calcium levels in the serum is rise. And next is the stimulus that raises the blood calcium level is thyroid gland through calcitonin. Whenever the serum blood glucose level blood calcium level rises, calcitonin will trigger and stimulates calcium deposition in bone and reduces the uptake from the kidney. This declines the blood calcium level and maintains the homeostasis. Next one is the phosphate metabolism. Phosphate is controlled through two hormones. That is, one is the serum parathormone, which increases the renal phosphate excretion, and decreased serum phosphate will decrease the renal phosphate excretion. And next one is the vitamin D. Vitamin D actually acts on the interstitial renal parenchyma and leads to the absorption and reabsorption of the phosphate. And parathyroid hormone coming to synthesized and secreted by the chief cells of parathyroid gland, synthesized as pre-pro parathyroid hormone, which is cleaved enzymatically to intact parathyroid hormone. This maintains the plasma calcium, as I said already. And main is the vitamin D. The main sources are diet and exposure to sunlight, that is UV light, and the requirement is 400 international units daily. Secreted by parafollicular C cells, that is calcitonin, which also I discussed. It acts to mainly to regulate the homeostasis of calcium by decreasing the calcium uptake from the calcium resorption from the bone and increasing the excretion from the kidney. Coming to main diseases, which are classified into four types. First is the inadequate osteosynthesis. From in those comes the osteopenia first. Next one is the inadequate mineralization of osteoid, that is osteomalacia, which is most commonly seen, and osteosynthesis deficit is seen in osteoporosis, and increased bone mass is seen in some diseases like Agids and osteopetrosis, which are known as osteosclerotic type of bone disease. Coming to rickets, is the most common type of disease seen in children due to failure of mineralization of osteoid tissue, which is secondary to abnormal vitamin D metabolism or phosphate metabolism or calcium itself is deficient. This is the synthesis of vitamin D, you know well. The 7-dehydrocholesterol is converted to vitamin D3, that is cholecalciferol, which is acted by 25 position hydroxylation in liver and first position hydroxylation in kidney to become active vitamin D3. There are two main types of defects. One is vitamin D itself is deficiency, and second one is vitamin D metabolism is deficiency. And type 2 is mainly concerned with the phosphate reabsorption and decreased intake or absorption of phosphate. In type 1, that is vitamin D deficiency, either intake is deficit or absorption is deficit. Both are vitamin D deficiencies, but either in intake form or absorption form. Whereas in vitamin D metabolism, mainly occurs in liver and kidney. So there is a defect in the liver diseases, that is cirrhosis and other type of diseases. And there is a defect in renal parenchymal and tubular diseases. And third one is the drugs which are used to interfere with the metabolism of the vitamin D. And type 2 here is the main culprit is the phosphate, which acts through kidney. That is hypophosphatemia rickets, vitamin D, otherwise known as vitamin D resistant X-linked form of disease, and Fanconi syndrome, which is a tubular defect. And decreased intake or absorption of phosphate. This is the intake type of deficit. Main clinical features are craniotapes, that is, the skull is very soft and deep, delayed ossification, which leads to ping pong ball type of consistency. And bossing of the skull, that is, raised borders in frontal and parietal bones, which becomes evident after 6 months. Next one is the broadening of the long end of bones. This will discuss in further class. And delayed teeth eruption due to calcium deficiency. These are the clinical features. This is a Pigeon chest, that is thoracic kyphosis. Pigeon chest is due to thoracic kyphosis, which is seen as a deep, narrow furrow in the chest. And Harrison sulcus. This is the indrawing of lower chest caused by pull of diaphragmatic attachment to soft roots. Next one is the rachitic rosary. This is the enlargement of costochondral junction, just as the metaphyseal lens in long limbs. And muscular hypotonia, which is seen as a protuberant abdomen. And deformities like knock-knees, bow-knees, and genu valgum or coxa valga or varus. The most important features you have to remember is, first one is the delayed ossification of parietal and occipital bones leads to delayed fontanel closure and frontal bossing. This is raised contour of the frontal bones. And dental hypoplasia, and pectus carinatum, that is pigeon chest, swelling in the wrist and ankle, wide sutures, craniotape, rachitic rosary, and bound of legs. This is the same which is in the rickety, which is a pneumonia. And how you biochemically decide the rickets. As seen, which is the primary culprit here is the low calcium. That's why calcium is always low. But serum phosphorus is also low, which is due to either intake deficiency or due to phosphorus deficiency. That divides the rickets into different types. And serum alkaline phosphate always elevated because it is always synthesized in relation to new bone formation. So it is our body always tries to form more bone production. So there is more osteoid formation. So there is a alkaline phosphate increase. Next one is the serum vitamin D, that is always low. This is the classical picture in biochemistry. Then what will you look for? X-rays. First classical feature is the widening of physis. The physis is widening due to continuous deposition of the unossified bone, and this deposition of the unossified bone leads to cupping, that is cupping of metaphysis due to continuous pressure from the increasing hypertrophic zone cells. And radiological feature, coming to radiological features are splaying of metaphysis, that is widened metaphysis, rarefaction of the diaphyseal cortex, which occurs in late rickets, and bone deformities due to continuous weight through that passing through the weak soft. Treatment comes either medical or orthopedic. Medical is most common, and orthopedic is seen if the child presents with deformities. The normal single dose oral 6 lakhs unit international units of vitamin D is given either in IM form or orally, and maintenance dose of daily 400 international units in vitamin D. How you will decide that there is a response? A line of sclerosis on metaphyseal side of the growth plate will appear. We will see this for this line in two times. If there is no formation of this line for two after two doses of vitamin D, then it is known as refractory rickets. Coming to orthopedic treatment, it is seen when the conservative treatment phase, that is when resistant rickets after development of different deformities. So we use the splints to minimize the deformity, and operative methods leads to corrective osteotomy when the child has grown and reached the complete growth potential. These are the Bowlegs and Knox showing in an X-ray. And coming to vitamin D resistant rickets, that is X-linked hypophosphatemia. This is most common important phenomenon which is commonly seen after nutritional rickets. This is the X-linked dominant disorder. So mostly commonly seen in females. X-linked dominant. So disorder of renal tubular reabsorption characterized by impaired reabsorption of phosphate in PCT, proximal convoluted tubule, due to brush border deficiency. So what happens here? The hypophosphatemia and hyperphosphaturia. Phosphate is cannot absorb from the urine. So there is a more leakage of phosphate that leads to hyperphosphaturia and decreased serum phosphate. So hypophosphatemia. This leads to triggering of alkaline phosphate synthesis for the deposition of more phosphate in the bone, and raised alkaline phosphate and normal plasma and urine calcium, because this is nothing to deal with the either vitamin D or calcium. This is only due to the defect in reabsorption of the phosphate. That's why only phosphate related factors will alter, and no change in either urine or plasma calcium or vitamin D. This is an important biochemical sequence we have to observe in X-linked hypophosphatemia. And rickets clinically become evident after 6 to 12 months of age, because there is a inherent chromosomal defect, that is a chromosomal defect. So you will see this in early stages. And what is vitamin D resistant rickets associated with renal tubular disorder? This is vitamin D is resistant here. That is, whatever amount of vitamin D is available, it cannot lead to changes in the calcium and phosphate metabolism. This is due to renal dysfunction syndrome produced in rickets and osteomalacia. This includes hypercalcemia, renal phosphate loss, and secondary hypophosphatemia, aminoexuria, and renal tubular sclerosis. In renal tubular sclerosis, the affected patient demonstrate growth retardations, short stature, and change of rickets, and osteomalacia features, and nephrolithiasis. Well, then what is osteomalacia? It is the adult form of rickets that is due to vitamin D deficiency, which is seen in mature skeleton. The common clinical features are bone pain, spontaneous fractures, muscular weakness. Here, there is already development of bones and closure of epiphysis and epiphysis. So there is no tendency to form deformities or which are classical features that are seen in children type of rickets. So these are mainly comes with these symptoms. And biochemical findings are again same. Calcium is low, phosphorus is low, and alkaline phosphate is. And radiological features here is bone density generally decreases due to lack of calcium and phosphorus. There are losers jones, that is a small loss of calcium density in the cortex. I will show in this next slide. And coarse and indistinct trabecular pattern and bone softening. Common sites of vertebra and other long bones and triradiate cartilage of pelvis. This is the losers zone. There is a small lucency in the cortex, which is mostly seen on the medial cortex in the proximal part of subcutaneous region of femur. This is codfish vertebra. Due to increase in pressure of the vertebra on the vertebra, and the bone is very soft, they will become compressed and leads to biconcave shape. This leads to codfish appearance. These are again the losers zones. Treatment is again the vitamin D. Here the main culprit is deficiency of vitamin D. So you have to give again the same dosage. either 6 lakh international units in IM form or 60,000 international units for 6 weeks, weekly once per in the oral form. And continuation dose is 400 international units. In malabsorption, you have to increase the dose, intramuscular dose. Renal disease, alpha calcidiol, an activated form of vitamin D, because there is no renal parenchyma to convert the one place hydroxylation. So you have to give the activated form. Next comes the scurvy. Here the main disorder is uh, vitamin C deficiency, which leads to defective collagen synthesis. Here the defective not due to mineralization. It is due to collagen synthesis deficit, which is required. Vitamin C is required. And scurvy is the rare before 6 months of age, and mostly comes due to pasteurized boiled milk and lack of breastfeeding. Classical signs are Wimberger's sign, white line of Frankel, Tummer-Fields zone, and Falcon's curve. This is the Wimberger's line. Epiphysis and small, sharply marginated by sclerotic. This is the epiphysis, which is sharply marginated by sclerotic rim, and this is the Falcon's spur. This is a Wimberger's line. This is Frankel's line, and periosteal new bone formation. Scarbetic rosary is very painful, remember, whereas rachitic rosary is not painful. This is the classical differentiation feature which will be asked in entrance also. Osteoporosis. Coming to osteoporosis, it is a senile disorder, a degenerative age-related disorder, which is commonly metabolic bone disease seen in adult form of adult diffuse reduction in bone density due to decrease in bone mass. When the rate of bone resorption exceeds the rate of bone formation, it leads to osteoporosis. Age usually around old age, that is 5th and 6th decade, and loss of bone mass approximately 3 to 10% per decade. There are different causes of osteoporosis. First one is the senility, and second most common is the postmenopause. Other are different forms of different causes of osteoporosis, which is seen in different diseases. The main clinical features is loss of bone mass leads to loss of strength. Okay, this leads to dorsolumbar spine to become susceptible to fracture because this is the high pressure, high weight transferring zone. So as the bone is weak, it leads to osteoporotic fractures commonly. And other type of fractures are Colles fractures, which is um, metaphyseal fracture of the distal radius and neck of femur fracture. These are due to high transfer of loads in the weak bone, which leads to easy fracture when there is a little trauma. Then increased kyphosis. These are the reason is same for all this. This is the left side picture is classical density of the bone, which is trabecular pattern, which is seen with the intervening osteoid. Whereas in osteoporosis, there is trabecular destruction and loss of continuity and interconnectivity between the trabecula. And postmenopausal osteoporosis is due to disproportionate loss of trabecular bone. This is seen after attaining menopause in the women. Fractures involve vertebral bodies, that are crush fractures due to pressure. The vertebra cannot tolerate the excessive pressure from the bone. Senile osteoporosis. This is mostly seen in men which are 75 years and above. There is a proportionate loss of both cortical and trabecular. This is the main difference in postmenopausal and senile. Here only trabecular bone is lost, disproportionate that is. Here both cortical and trabecular bone is lost, and fractures occurs in femoral neck and other vertebrae. Then coming to radiology, there is a classical features of the radiological appearance. The first one is codfish appearance. I already shown you. There is a biconcave appearance of the vertebra and ground glass appearance of vertebra due to loss of osteoid, both osteoid and mineral. Sinks index is a type of index which has 6 classes. The greater the number, the greater the bone loss, bone density loss. Other investigations are biochemistry. As this is a senile disorder, there is no change in either calcium or phosphate or alkaline phosphate. All are within normal limits. This is again important entrance bit for the biochemistry pattern in the osteoporosis. All are normal, but as age progresses, the number of the bone density and bone mass both decreases equally. So densitometry show ultrasound based densitometry, that is ultrasound based and X-ray based. DEXA scan is the gold standard for the early diagnosis of the osteoporosis. And neutron activation analysis and other type of different methods are there to diagnose the osteoporosis. See, this is the classical ground glass appearance, the middle picture. See, there is a loss of trabecular pattern and there is loss of osteoid and mineral. Both osteoid and mineral is lost. Whereas in rickets, only mineral is lost. Osteoid is richly present, but mineral is lost. So this is the kyphosis, kyphotic vertebra with the cod fissure. The main treatment is first to reduce the prevent the fracture formations and decrease the pain due to decrease the osteoid and bone. Treatment is mainly medical, orthopedic is rare. Medical treatment includes first increase the protein diet and calcium supplementation. If there is a senile type of disorder in men, then use the androgen for the anabolic effect on the bone. And estrogen for post-menopausal women, vitamin D supplementation and fluoride, which is not confirmed in studies. Next one is the orthopedic treatment. Daily regular exercises to stimulate the bone formation and bracing if there is a tendency of fractures in spine. Next coming disorder is the hyperparathyroidism. They are divided into primary, secondary, and tertiary. In primary, the gland itself produces the more amount of parathyroid. In secondary form, it is responsive. It is secondary to the metabolic calcium and phosphate. Okay, and in tertiary form, gland becomes independent of the regulatory mechanisms and become autonomous. In clinical features, the more commonly seen in women 3rd to 5th decade, bone pain is the most common. Tenderness on palpation of bones, this is the classical feature. And pathological fractures also common due to decreased osteolysis of the bone. And Brown's tumor, this is the expansile bone lesion due to collection of osteoclast, commonly seen in maxilla and mandible. These are the other features: anorexia, nausea, vomiting, and abdominal cramps. This is all due to increased amount of calcium, that is serum calcium. These are the radiological features. This is subperiosteal bone resorption, and this is the subchondral bone resorption and central collapse of vertebra, generalized osteopenia, loss of lamina dura of the teeth. These are the important radiological findings. And Brown's tumor, it is most located destructive area of the intense osteoclastic activity. Chondrocalcinosis is the deposition of calcium pyrophosphate dihydrate in articular and fibrocartilage. It's primary hyperparathyroidism, granular appearance of skull wall, salt and pepper appearance. Investigation is again, as the parathyroid hormone is more, the calcium is always high in the serum. As parathyroid hormone negatively balances the phosphate, it is always low. And alkaline phosphate is always high, as bone is on regular dynamics in chain. That is, bone is always provoked for the different dynamic, actively increasing the osteolysis. Coming to treatment consists of removal of basic cause, that is surgical excision of hormone secreting the tissue, that is parathyroid removal. And orthopedic treatment is prevent the deformity and fractures of the softened bones. Paget's disease. This is also known as osseous deformance. This is more commonly seen in elderly. These are progressive deformities of spine and limbs, which is uncommon in India. Etiology is mostly unknown. Increased bone resorption and decreased disorganized bone formation is the characteristic. It has both two stages, osteoblastic and osteoclastic. Viral etiology is also proposed for this. Demineralization followed by excessive reparative bone formation is the classical feature. Presentation is either monoosteotic, single bone is involved, polyosteotic, or facial type affecting only jaws. There will be severe pain due to continued dynamics in the bone and enlarged skull and kyphosis of the spine. Tibia and femur spine skull are affected. Thicker and warm bones in the osteoblastic phase and osteoclastic phase. There is no warmth. And complications are pathological fractures, cranial nerve pulses due to ossification around the cranial uh, foramina, and card symptoms due to spinal canal stenosis and osteoarthritis. This is a radiological appearance, honeycomb appearance, and this is the classical uh, osteoporosis circumscripta, circumscribed patches of the osteoporosis in skull also. Treatment is mainly symptomatic. Analgesics are used, calcitonin and bisphosphonates are used, reduce the bone turnover. And fluorosis, this is the excessive deposition of calcium, which occurs in bone and soft tissue, results from the excessive ingestion of fluorosis. The required fluoride content in the normal water is less than 1 ppm. Most common in the states of Punjab, Andhra Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu. In Andhra Pradesh, Nalgonda is the most common. Skeletal fluorosis occurs when ppm increases more than 5. Pain in back and joints, stiffness of the spine, paresthesias, and limbs. And dental fluorosis is the earliest sign of fluorosis, which occurs after fluoride increases to 3 ppm. The earliest to occur is mottling of enamel and common in incisors and upper jaw. Later, the teeth gets eroded and fall off. Radiological features includes in spine increased density of calcium and posterior longitudinal ligament calcification. In pelvis also there is ligament calcifications. Forearm and leg interosseous membrane calcification is the characteristic feature. Here the only culprit is fluoride. So there is always elevated fluoride and levels in urine and drinking water. Biopsies also show high fluoride levels in this characteristic interosseous membrane ossification in fluorosis. Treatment is prevent the fluoride content in the water, drinking water, and always maintain it less than 1 ppm. Defluorination of the water is carried as a public health problem. Thank you.